Hey everyone, welcome to the Mitch Sanker Show, where we talk business, entrepreneurship, and big ideas. Today's guest leads an inspiring nonprofit organization. His mission is to eliminate the financial barriers in sports so children can develop essential life skills such as confidence and sportsmanship. He has helped thousands of underprivileged children enroll in sports, both in our local community and afar. Please welcome founder and president of Their Opportunity, Randy Gill. Let's start the show. So you just got back from Calgary?
Yeah. I spent about a week doing business development there, and
what sort of business development?
We have basically one of our hubs out there in Calgary, and we have it run right now currently by a board of directors.
Yeah,
and we'll have some part-time staff that work there for us, and some people that run events and initiatives. So
okay,
I have to go out there and do business development and sponsorship and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm always cheerleading and coaching. It's what I do. It's what I do best too.
Yeah. Has that shifted throughout the years of how much of the leading you're doing now?
Yeah, absolutely. My leadership role is evolved as the company and organization has evolved. I'm doing a lot of coaching now and a lot of consulting, even outside our realm of, the not-for-profit world, the charitable world, and doing some consulting and work for, the real estate, industry and development and community development. So it's pretty exciting to kind of watch how we're expanding.
Nice.
And me as a person too, who would have thought, I would be giving counsel to development groups, real estate, never in a million years, right?
Right. And you were into hockey before, right?
Yeah. I was an athlete.
Yeah.
And, I'm a retired athlete, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I've had my bumps and bruises. My body still has the effects of trying to play hockey at a high level. And I was very fortunate growing up for my community to really get behind me as a person and my family. I didn't really realize I came from, a low-income situation, underserviced situation, until I became an adult, really. And the community really got behind me. I had an opportunity to play junior hockey and university and some pro hockey as well. And that's kind of what led to everything that I'm doing today.
Right. And so what are you doing today?
Well, about 10 years ago, we started an organization called Their Opportunity. And it's for underserviced youth, give them opportunity to participate in sport and recreation programs that maybe they wouldn't be able to afford to participate in. So we try to remove barriers to access and be accessible to sport and recreation. So we started that over 10 years ago, and it's been quite a journey ever since. And, their opportunity is not just about giving kids opportunity to participate in sport and recreation programs, but it's also giving them opportunity to take the skills that they're learning and the skills that they're given, life skills and teamwork, and turning that into community service and community service projects through our Give Back program.
Okay. So what does that look like? What is that Give Back program? How is that tied into your nonprofit? Yeah,
it's tied into Their Opportunity, where we have about almost 14,000 kids part of the program across 53 cities across the country. And they're popping up all over the place doing some incredible things, from working in soup kitchens to working in seniors' homes. One of the kids did a graffiti removal project.
Okay.
And it was pretty awesome. And this whole ripple effect of community, of what happens when you give back and you do good work and you build community. This young man, he came to us and he said, we'd like to do something really unique in our city. Would you be willing to kind of support the building of this? And we said, yeah, actually, what's going on? And so this kid was referred to us through the school and the police services because he was bullied into stealing some items from a local department store. Mm-hmm. And the first thing, the next day, this young man went back to the department store and said, I was, bullied into stealing these items, and this is not me. I don't know what to do, but I'm giving you these items back.
Oh, wow.
And so, the department store actually reached out to the police, and the police reached out to us first.
Okay.
To Their Opportunity, and said, Randy, do you have any ideas how we could help this kid who, really wants to just play hockey and get out of trouble? And that's what we're about, reaching kids before they need to be rescued.
Right.
And giving them opportunity. And so we said, absolutely. So we enrolled him in hockey. And then one thing led to another. He went to his teacher a few weeks later and said, for my give back, through their opportunity, I want to pay it forward by doing graffiti removal project.
Okay. And that was his idea?
That was his idea.
Nice.
Yeah. And so kind of one thing led to another. The teacher told the principal, and before we knew it, we had the student body of the high school doing a graffiti removal project all across the city. And so that's when one child or one person gets a hold of doing good for others. The ripple effect.
Yeah,
it's contagious. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's what their opportunity is really about. It's giving kids opportunity, but having those kids who have been given opportunity give those opportunities to other people.
Right.
And it creates a ripple effect. It creates community.
That's right. That's amazing. Take us back to 10 years ago. What was it like? I mean, obviously you kind of shared before, like you just being in sport, the reason why you started it. But what was it like in the early phases of the charity, basically? Like how did you start that? What was it like?
Yeah,
was it just you? Did you get a team? Like, what is it like to
that's
build something?
That's a great question, because people that are watching today, when they think to themselves, do I have what it takes to start something,
That's
do
right.
a startup,
That's
or
right.
make a difference,
That's
create
right.
an impact? And the answer is yes. Absolutely. Everyone that's watching should understand that inside of them lies something unique, that when they find it, they can create with it. And maybe we'll talk about that later. But, in revisiting that, I'm looking back and I'm saying it was because of this, and this that we all got kind of going in this project. Because it takes a village. It may take one person to have an idea to create a ripple effect, to start something, but it really takes a village to kind of keep it going.
Right.
And so when I look back, I was actually at a professional development day. It's called the Day of Hope and Leadership, and this was over 10 years ago now.
Okay.
And the last presenter of the day, his name's Ian Hill. And, excuse my language, I was going to say what he said, but it looked like he was staring me down during this conference. I'm there with, a couple hundred people, and it looked like he was staring me down, speaking into my soul. And he was offending me in a way, because he's saying, I'm a damn American doing more in your city. Get off your ass and do something. Do something about what's inside of you and make a difference. Why am I building parks in your low-income neighborhoods? I'm an American doing this. Why am I doing that in your backyard?
Right.
So I said to Mr. Hill at the end of that conference, I took him by the arm and said, my name's Randy Gill. I want you to remember my name. And if we engage over the next year or two, I want you to know I will have started a movement. And he's like, what? Yeah, I'm going to start a movement of giving opportunities to kids across the country for them to gain access to sport and recreation and to make a difference in their community. And so at that moment, each one of us, as your listeners, those that watch this video podcast, there's a moment in people's lives where you can either take action or just let it die.
Right.
And I want to challenge people everywhere I go is to take action on those things that are triggered inside you. And at that moment, it triggered inside of me something that had been placed there years ago. And we took action. I reached out to my family. I talked to my three younger brothers about what was stirring in my heart and my spirit to do something to make a difference. And they said, we got to do this. And then we talked to some of our influencers and some of the people that were around us, and we say, would you be willing to join us on this journey? And they said, absolutely. And so one thing led to another, and it was about 10 years ago, we started the movement called Their Opportunity. And now we're, like I said, in 53 cities across the country and doing more every year and adding to the movement.
Right on. How long do you think that you were sitting with that idea in your head?
Yeah, that's a great question. I probably was sitting with that idea for probably at least a year.
Yeah.
Because I think these types of things kept going through my mind. Are you doing enough? Mm-hmm. Are you making a difference? And I felt like I was doing something, making a difference, but just not enough. And there was that more, and that I needed to flip the switch on that more.
Would you have any advice for any of our viewers, listeners that maybe having an idea of wanting to start a business or wanting to start a charity or wanting to do something of some sort of impact, would you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I think the first piece of advice I would have is believe in yourself. Find that believe-o-meter and turn up the dial on it. Because each one of us, as we go through life, there's again, I go back to these moments. Will you believe in something that's placed in you? Just turn that dial up a bit. The other thing I would say as well is find your awesome.
And what does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Finding your awesome. Everyone inside of us has something that's in there that's meant to come out. Your why. Connecting to your why. Simon Sinek talks about that in his book. And,
Love him.
For me, that why was finding my awesome and delivering that, becoming a dispenser of hope and opportunity. So, you have that. Your listeners, those who are watching, they have that inside of them, but it's connecting to it. And when you find that, you find your awesome, you can connect with it and do something amazing. One of my mentors says that there's 14,000 minutes in a day, which means you have 14,000 opportunities each day to do something great, to make an impact. And so what is it today, that moment inside of you, that minute that you're going to just turn and you're going to say, that's it. And for me, it was giving opportunity, giving hope, dispensing hope. And that was I found that. And everyone has that bit of awesome to connect to. And when you connect to it, I also say to find it and create with it.
Right.
Especially for the creative folks that are out there, and whatever business or industry that you're in, there's something when you connect to your awesome, you can create with it.
Yes.
What is it in your industry right now that needs to change? Well, find your awesome, attach to it, and then create with it. Right? In my industry, there was things that we needed to do and make a change. So we attached to our awesome, and then we started to create with it. We started to give away opportunity, and more collaboration in my industry needed to take place. So we created the first ever charitable hub space in our region.
And what is that?
Yeah, it's a charity hub that allows the not-for-profit sector and the charitable sector to kind of come together and have a shared workspace and do great things together, create impact together. And so, yeah, we created that because it was missing in our industry.
And that's where? That's here in Oshawa?
It's in Oshawa, Ontario, downtown, right across from the armories downtown, yeah.
Right on. And what does that look like? How many people are working in there? And
there's a few agencies.
How are they collaborating?
Yeah, there's a few agencies and charities, not-for-profits that work in that space. And, we collaborate on projects. We have more procurement power for when we're buying or selling, those types of things. It's pretty awesome. And each one does something different. And that's what makes up community. We all have something to bring to our community that's different. And we're not in competition with one another. We come together and we create amazing things. We create impact.
Well, how would you describe the culture that you have within your organization? Actually,
we have a thing called the culture of care.
Okay.
It's our DNA. And, I'll just I like acrostics, I'm simple that way. I like to be able to remember things, but our culture is a culture of care, and it's an acrostic for care. And it's be consistent. Be consistent as a person, consistent in your work and in your workplace environment. Just be consistent. Be someone that can be relied on. And then be accepting. Accept those that are around you in your workspace and in your community, and create a place that people want to feel like they're accepted. And then be relational. I think every workplace needs to understand that the more relational you can be, the more effective you'll be. And we want to really allow that to blossom in our workplace. And then the E is to be engaged. Be engaged in every department. Someone says, well, I'm in human resources, or, I'm in development. Who cares? what department you're in, be engaged in the other departments, be engaged in what's going on around you so that you can build a better version of your business, a better version of community. And that's what we want to do in our culture with Their Opportunity, is build a culture of care. It's so important to us.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love the acrostic. I love, what you guys stand for. So starting out, was it you? And then how did you attract that team? Was it, I tell a lot of people with the branding and everything. That's a great question. Once you come clear with those values and what you stand for, it makes it easier to attract the right people to work and to get behind your mission and help you achieve what your goal is and what you're set out to be, what your organization is set out to do, what your vision is. It's a lot easier to attract those people. But what did that look like in the early stages of Their Opportunity?
Well, the one thing I always say, and my staff will always say, oh yeah, here he goes again on purpose and outcome and all that kind of thing. But I say it like this, is that people are attracted to vision or purpose, but they stay attached because of outcome and impact and what you're doing. So in the early days, I think people really understood that we stood for something. We had a purpose. We were going to make a difference, and this was our vision, is to level the playing field for every child across the country. And it just started with one. And it would start with one family. It would start with one community, and then it would go from there. And so attracting the right people, I think in business, in charity and not-for-profit work, is that it's people first before product. When you invest in people, your product becomes that much better. And so for us, we got the right people around us that really had a heart for what we were doing and said, I'm willing to sacrifice alongside of you to get this off the ground. Because building anything that's important takes sacrifice.
That's right.
Right? It takes sacrifice. And so people attached to us because of our purpose, and they were willing to come alongside of us and sacrifice time, energy, finances in order to make this work. My family said, you know what, Dad, you got to do this. You know what, husband, you just got to do this, and we'll sacrifice until it's ready to go and roll out. And that's what it takes. It takes sacrifice.
Yeah. Do you find that because you have such a strong, passion for this and conviction to your, to what you want to accomplish and your vision and the mission that you guys set out for, do you find that it's hard for you to burn out? Every time I'm around you, you got so much energy, and it's contagious, and you can feel that passion. It's just, you're vibrating on a whole different level than most people, right? Do you find that it's even possible for you to burn out, or do you feel like you just get more charged up the more people you're around, sharing your message?
Well, absolutely. That fuels me. When other people are attracted to the fire and the passion, it fuels me. It keeps me going. And I think we need to reciprocate that in community, because we can't always burn at this highest level. Yeah. Right. And I seem to be that kind of a guy. Yeah. But the reality is I need people around me to fuel me too.
Right.
And that's why it's important that, you attract the right people as well to feed into you. We have the right donors. We have the right board members. We have the right advisors that feed energy to those that are actually delivering and giving. Because day after day of giving out so much, it's easy to burn out. And if I can be completely transparent and honest, probably about a decade ago, I did burn out because I was relying on myself too much. And I didn't develop the people around me. And so you learn from those mistakes. And, when you talk about being authentic and real, I've been there. I've done that. Bought the T-shirt, burned out with it. But again, when you find you're awesome, that I talked about earlier, that is the thing that you function out of. Because when I'm trying to be something that I'm not, that's when I burn out.
Right.
This is who I am. And this is who you are. And the watchers, viewers, listeners, when they become who they're meant to be, then the burnout times maybe become a little shorter, right? And I got to watch what I do. Sometimes I take on too much.
Yeah.
I say yes to too many things. Our staff and I just went through a whole series together talking about flexing our no muscle.
What is that?
So flexing your no muscle really is finding the right things to say no to instead of always saying yes. And setting boundaries. It's important that I set boundaries so that I can re-energize, rejuvenate, and be at my best. So I've got to say no to certain things. My staff, when I give them the opportunity to say no, they feel empowered.
Yeah.
You would think it'd be the opposite. Hey, just keep saying yes, and you're gonna really hit this out of the park.
Yeah.
It's not the case.
Yeah, exactly. And defining those boundaries is key to not getting burned out doing and having control of what you want to do, and also doing like the right things, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very easy for any entrepreneur, any business person, any leader to feel busy or to be busy, right? But it's about prioritizing what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So you've got this team around you, and how do you go about leading them? Do you have a leadership style? What does leadership mean to you? How are you investing in your people?
Well, for me, I think leadership is influence.
Yes.
One of my mentors would be John Maxwell. I read his stuff, I ingest it.
I love him.
Yeah, really great. He doesn't know he's a mentor of mine.
Yeah,
by the way.
of course. No, same with like you, just because you watch his stuff, you
read his
the
material,
seminars and stuff, and his books are amazing. And
and he says it really simply that leadership is influence, and what I do in my leadership style is influencing, being a positive influence, and being a leader that takes on the challenges ahead and is out in front, and wanting my team to do the same and to follow. But I'm a giver. I'm generous. So I want to give my team lots of opportunity to be themselves, lots of opportunity to fail. That's a difficult thing, especially when you're leading, is to give things away, delegate, give things away, and let people fail at it. That's a tough thing, but that's my leadership style, because then I want to coach. Then I want to coach with that kind of positive influences. My best hockey coaches when I was growing up were the ones that kept you accountable, but that were super positive and that cheered you on and showed you this is the way, walk in it. This is how it happens. And that's kind of my leadership style as well.
Yeah, love it. Love it. And you must be creating leaders yourself with the expansion, and maybe you want to touch on that, like where you guys started here in Oshawa, but now where are you? And obviously you can't be in all places at once, so you need great people behind you, and you need to create other leaders that can push forward with the vision. Yeah,
creating teams is key. And for us especially, creating volunteer teams too. Volunteerism across the country, I believe, is alive. People want to be a part of something special, and it's just giving them opportunity to lead. Right. So, we have teams, like I said, in 52 cities across the country, but we have main cores, advisors, board of directors, staff, directors, that I am leading them as much as I can by coaching, by being involved. And like I said earlier too, that people are important to me, right? It's not just the business or this product that we're putting out. It's the people that are making it happen. And so we're trying to build teams every week. We're trying to build teams and expand our teams and add to our teams, and sometimes subtracting. We have to take out of here or let this thing die in order to build something with new life. Right.
So where are you guys right now? Like where is there opportunity? Like, are you in different cities? Where are you guys?
Yeah, I think our main hubs kind of center around the Alberta area, Ontario, We're doing some work in Quebec. We're doing some First Nations work. You know, the evolution of their opportunity has taken us into First Nations communities. We're working with parasport groups now, and adaptive sport, and we do a lot of advocating as well. We're advocating for people and for families, and that gets me jazzed up as well. I love to advocate. I love to fight for you. You know, my name Randy means shield or protector.
Yeah.
You know, and that's who I am. That's part of my DNA is I want to shield you. I want to protect you. I want to set up a place where it's safe for you to be the best version of yourself. So, you know, as we expand, you know, across the country, I need people to be that for me too, so that we don't go too big, too fast and break apart at the seams. And I think businesses, when they find their stride, they're building at a sustainable rate, you know, because sometimes it can happen too quick. So we're about 10 years old now.
Yeah.
And like I said, about 53 cities and growing every year.
Awesome. You guys have a partnership with the Ottawa Senators, is that right?
Yeah, we have some incredible partnerships across the country. One of those is the Ottawa Senators, their club, and especially their foundation, the Ottawa Sens Foundation. Danielle and her team there are real game changers for their community and for kids in the Ottawa region. And so they've partnered up with their opportunity to help be another extension of their brand. And those things are game changers for us to give us, again, more opportunity to create possibilities for the whole Ottawa region. And it's been a wonderful partnership. And we're expanding that. We've developed something called the Sens Power Plays, and it's giving opportunity and hope to so many kids in the Ottawa region. You know, and kids are popping up not just in hockey. You know, we're not just putting kids in hockey, but we're getting them involved in, you know, martial arts and dance and, you know, you name it. That's what we're doing. And, you know, groups like the Ottawa Senators and the Sens Foundation have allowed us to do more and create greater impact.
And you guys are very involved in, you know, our local community, I know here. What are some of the events that you guys have or the initiatives that you guys have going on where maybe other people can help support you guys or some people can get involved? Give us some examples of some of those events that you guys have.
Yeah, we do quite a few things, actually all across the country. In the region where our head office is, we do things like what's called the Dimes for Time movement. It's a kids helping kids, and basically they're bringing in change to bring change for their friends and their family and their community. And that happens in, I think, 3 or 4 school boards across the region. And about 20 to 30,000 people are involved in that initiative every year. And it actually started when a young boy by the name of Jake Morris came with his mother to my office about 8 years ago. Actually, he's in university in Ottawa now. And he said, I want to do more for my friends. You know, can you help me out? And I said, yeah, sure. What have you been doing? Well, I've been giving up my birthday and Christmas money so that my friends can, you know, participate in the same things that I do. I said, what? You know, you're not spending that money on video games and all that kind of stuff? And he's like, no, I just want to help other kids. I'm like, we can work with that.
Yeah.
Right. And so one thing led to another. And before we knew it, we had a movement of dozens and dozens of schools participating in this initiative. So it's pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, that's inspiring.
Yeah, again, it goes back to that coaching and cheering them on. It's not a Randy Gill thing. It's a community. It takes a village. And that's why we didn't call it the Randy Gill Foundation.
Yeah.
Right? This is their opportunity. It's an opportunity for everyone to shine a light and help one another.
Right.
Find their best version and give back and keep it going. You know, so we do that. We do, you know, golf tournaments, you know, with different, you know, corporate sponsors like the Gay Company Limited. Gay Company Limited has been really, you know, awesome in getting their subs and contractors to be involved. And all of a sudden we start to see third-party initiatives taking place where, you know, a company says, we want to partner with their opportunity. We're going to do this for you.
Right.
And that's when we start to take off to the next level.
Yeah.
Is when companies say, our social responsibility, our community responsibility as an organization or a company is to do things like what you're talking about. Give kids opportunity and have those kids give opportunities to other people. So that's what we're starting to see. More, companies, organizations coming alongside of us and saying, keep doing what you're doing. We got you.
Absolutely. Well, you've created that movement, right? Where other people are just, they believe in what you guys stand for, and they love the mission, and they want to get behind it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's not my idea, but I want to help.
Yeah.
Right. So they're doing that. And what other ways can other businesses? Obviously, there's lots of businesses that were watching the show and listening. How do they support you guys?
Well, they can support us in a number of ways. Getting their employees to, donate to their opportunity, real simply. They can get their employees to get together and do some type of engagement with us and create something. Create something awesome and collaborate with us, and we'll help build it together. I think those are the easy ways just to be involved. It's pretty simple. Reach out to us. You send us an email, connect with my team, and we'll build something great together.
What does the future hold for their opportunity? What's like, obviously not to say what's the end, but like, where are you guys at right now? What do you guys have going forward? What's the growth like?
We're projecting to, actually by 2022, we had hoped to have been in 30 communities. We're already, here we are in 2020, and we're already in 53.
Oh, wow.
So we've exceeded those goals that were set out for us.
Congrats.
Thank you. And so, in the next, 5 years or so, we hope to be in about 100 communities. We hope to be doing more work in First Nations communities across the country, working in different, regions, that we may not currently be in. And the thing is, when we go through our expansion, it has to work. Number one, we have to be invited to the city or to the community.
Right.
We don't force ourselves on a community. We get invited in. And then we have to look at sustainability. And is that community able to sustain what we do and to feed into it and to grow it? Otherwise, there's no point.
In what ways? What are you talking about when you say that? Like, the community's got to sustain you guys.
For example, if we're to go to a new city or a new community, we want them to kind of do a little research and make sure that it's a place where there is a need. We want them to see if there's companies and groups or people or donors that say we can help support financially this organization for its growth.
Right.
And we take that dollar and turn it into $4 or $5 just in what we do. But that's important to our growth, so it's sustainable.
Right. So you guys don't look to say, oh, let's go and expand to Vancouver.
Yeah,
you guys don't do that.
No,
it's like they're calling you.
They call us. Yeah. How come I haven't heard of you, or how come you're not in our city? Well, now we're having a conversation. That's why it's the right time now.
Right.
The right time is now.
Right. Can we touch a little bit on like branding? Because there's a lot of people that, watch the show and listen that kind of got it mixed up, where they talk and they think branding is just a logo, and, they're really referencing more brand identity. But I think what you guys have is true branding. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have some great people around me that are way better at this whole branding thing than I am. We've got some great staff, some great board members that give us some good advice on brand identity, branding. But at the heart of true brand, I believe, is a great cause, is great people, and a great community. And you put that together, and it's the recipe for an awesome brand. Someone better write that down or put the equation up on the screen. That's the first time I said that, actually. That's really what it means to have a great brand, because I think I referred to it earlier in our talk about people. People make a brand.
That's right.
A brand, brand is a brand.
That's right.
Yeah. And so it's important to understand what people attach to and why they attach to brands. And we're still building, again, not everybody across the country or across the world knows their opportunity, but when they see it, or understand it, they become attached to it based on purpose.
Love it. Love it. What ways have you changed, or have you seen yourself change over those, 10 years, or even, going forward? How have you changed? How have you personally grown? How have you developed? You're doing all sorts of stuff now. You're speaking now. You're influencing different people and the communities that, that you guys are involved in huge ways. How have you developed yourself on a personal level? How have you changed over those years?
Yeah, I've changed quite a bit. I've got a little bit of gray in my beard now as well. Hopefully it doesn't show up on the camera.
Edit that.
Yeah, we'll edit that out. But it's maturity.
Yeah.
It's evolution. It's allowing yourself to be a learner. And I kind of hope that I'm doing that on a weekly basis, a yearly basis, that I'm just growing as an individual, as a person, and being open to other opportunities that are placed in front of me, for doors to open. And again, having the courage and the confidence to say, yeah, I can do that. I'm not the best at spreadsheets. I'm not the best at, the budgets and, all these types of things within my business. But because now I know I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. Mm-hmm. I used to think that I was the smartest guy in the room. Now I'm looking to not be. And I want to surround myself with people that are better than me, smarter than me, so that we can do great things together, and that I don't hold the growth of my organization back based on my inefficiencies or my arrogance or pride.
Right.
So now I have a little less pride, that gets in the way as a stumbling block, because I can say, you know what, I didn't know that. You know what, let's add that. Why don't you own that? Why don't you build on that success to make us all successful? Mm-hmm. And so as a person, I'm growing. As a person, I'm understanding that I need to be a better coach. I need to be, always educating myself. I'm in a little book club on Thursday morning at 7 a.m. That, again, feeding. I'm around the right people that are feeding me. And it's part of my evolution. It's part of my growth. Like I said earlier in our chat, I'm finding myself sitting around a table of experts in a field that I have no idea about or had no idea about. And now I'm sitting at a table asked to bring my opinion. It's mind-boggling for me. Mm-hmm.
And talk to me about some of these speaking engagements that you're doing.
Yeah, I'm speaking at some sport conferences, sport for development. I'm speaking at community development conferences, branding, marketing, those types of things. And again, it's evolving who I am, evolving my knowledge, evolving what I'm able to deliver to my community, and I believe that I'm dispensing hope wherever I go. That's what I lead with, hope and generosity. And that's again, going back to my DNA and who I am. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
So, I have great opportunities to speak all across the country and to bring hope and bring generosity and help level the playing field, for communities, families, and advocate. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly you can feel that hope on listen, we've filmed some, I've watched some. You can feel it when you speak. Mm-hmm. So definitely you're doing an amazing job transferring that hope and generosity to to your audience, because you can certainly feel it even when you're just watching the video through a phone or your computer. I mean, it's like I said, you got this contagious energy about you. Let's go back to the start there when you're talking about how people can find their why and find kind of who they are. Would you have any, I feel like a lot of people are always, and it's not to say I don't think really anyone has it all figured out, but do you have any, would you have any advice for someone that's trying to, maybe someone that's younger or maybe even someone that's older and kind of stumbling through to find their purpose or their why or their awesomeness, as you put?
Yeah, I think there's a few ways to kind of find that stride. I think at first you need to really unplug. I found that as I was finding myself, that I was trying to unplug from all of the things that I was doing that was capturing my attention. So I think, to your viewers, listeners, that find when you're trying to rediscover or discover for the first time your DNA, your purpose, who you are, is try first by unplugging. I find myself meditating a little bit more. I actually developed something. Sorry to segue into something else. I'll come back.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Shoot that rabbit. I get on a rabbit trail all the time. But within our business, just in the last year, I've said to my staff that I'm going to give them between an hour and 2 hours a week to meditate and create. That's what we call it. Meditation Monday, or come up with whatever they wanted to do. You don't have to do it my way. I found a new app, by the way. Thank you to my friend James in Calgary for giving me this app, showing me this app.
Share with us.
I'll share it with you guys after. Yeah,
okay.
I'll give you the link.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And just meditating, and you're more creative, you're more productive because of it. And kind of finding my center. Finding my true north, and then I can point other people in that direction as well. And so unplug. Unplug. If you're going to discover your why, you're going to have to unplug a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I think it's important for you to gather the right type of people around you in helping you with your journey of discovering your why, discovering your purpose, because they may see things that you don't. So I had to have the right people in my life to say, you're an idiot. You are an absolute idiot for thinking you can do this. You can't do this. This is the wrong path. And sometimes they were right. And sometimes we got back together and we would say, you know what? You were wrong. And they're like, yeah, you're right. I was wrong. You need to keep doing this, as you're building who you are, your why, your purpose. But again, finding those right people to surround yourself with is so important.
Amazing. No, I love it. I love like the whole unplugging and removing distractions and kind of going in to find that.
Yeah.
Did you find that it took, how long did that take? Or can you not even kind of put your finger on a timeline? Did it just happen naturally? Because I'm sure a lot of people, they're always thinking okay, well, I'm doing something, or I feel lost, or I don't know if I'm on the right track, or I'm on the right path. Let me do some soul searching. And it's I'm going to unplug, or I'm going to go on a retreat, or I'm going to have some downtime for 10 minutes. And they think that they're going to go find this and come out all inspired and be I got the answer. That's what I got to do. I got to build this, or I got to create that, or I got to move in this direction. Right. Yeah. So did it take you a while? Or
yeah, it really did. I had some aha moments, which we all have, but it's weaving the tapestry together of those aha moments to really come up with what that blanket looks like, right? So it takes time. It takes time to unplug. It may not happen in a retreat weekend, for example. It may take you a couple years. And for me, it kind of took a couple years of testing myself, trial and error, falling on my face, failing. That's part of it as well. Failure is so important. I was speaking at a university, and I think the title of my talk was Preparing You for Failure on Your Way to Success.
Yeah. Go in depth in that.
Yeah, and really kind of the gist of it was, I talked a little bit about the Toronto Raptors, go Raps, on their way to the NBA championship, of all the losses that they had to go through, all the losing seasons. And, they probably lost more, than they even won, for the first few years. And just kind of being resilient enough to allow yourself to fail.
Right.
I find, especially as a father,
Yep.
That I'm trying to help my son, for example, be resilient in his failure, and that it will build his success going forward. And, we just talked, at this conference and speaking to the university students, just saying, allow yourself room to fail. don't just, go out saying I want to fail and, just make a mess of things.
Yeah.
But don't be so hard on yourself when you are going through failure. Learn from it. It's one of our greatest teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And, it may be a better teacher than the prof that's sitting next to you today.
Yeah. And what would you have any advice for someone? So what, once you fail or once someone has failed, would you have any advice for, what to do? Like, what do you do? You're reflecting on it?
Yeah,
You getting
I'm
right up?
reflecting.
Like, what are you doing?
I'm writing. Writing it or putting it on my phone, and it's in my face. Not to say, "Hey, you idiot! Hey, look at you! You're a failure." But I'm documenting it, and I'm looking at it as a step.
Right.
So here was this step. This is what we did, and this is how we failed. And then you keep adding to it, and it becomes your manifesto. Really, at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's amazing. So for you personally, what's the future hold for you?
I want to be an awesome husband. I want to be a great father. When I talked about unplugging, one of the things that I think I said in one of my talks was I needed to create in my family, for example, presence of me being attached. I was able to find that I need to find my stride to sit back, unplug, and be a good father, be a great husband. Find that's what the future holds for me. And I've been married almost 25 years, and I have a teenage son, and I'm still learning how to do these things. I want to be a great leader. The future holds for me to develop great people around me, so that I can say, I'm passing on a legacy. I'm about building legacy. So the future holds that for me. Future-proofing our business, building sustainability, finding the right people to take things to another level. We stand on the shoulder of giants. I think that was in a talk I just recently did too, and I want someone to be able to stand on my shoulders. I want to build a big enough base that people can stand on these little shoulders and do something great.
Yeah.
I'm more excited about what the next 10 or 20 years looks like for our organization, even than I am right now, because that I see the future, and I think great leaders, they see into the future, and they want people to build on top of what they've done and make it better. Because I don't have it all figured out. And if we're going to create opportunities and level a playing field for all Canadian youth, then I need for other people to say, you know what, thank you for building that. Now I'm going to build even bigger and better on top of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Randy, thank you so much for being on the show. Really, truly inspiring. I'm going to let you get back to working on your mission and getting back to everything that you're setting out to do. So thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for watching my conversation with Randy Gill. Go ahead, check him and their opportunity out. The details are posted in the show notes below. If you or someone you know is a leading industry professional with a great story, I want to talk to them. Shoot me an email at show@sankermedia.com. Go ahead, like, comment, and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more to come.